Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, Anamorphides. And today's video is going to be a question answered from a commenter on a video that I posted about soulmates and soul connections. And this question is phrased in this way. Any insight on why we have soul connections but unable to be with them in the physical? Is there anything spiritually, energetically blocking the two people from coming together? So thank you so much, Tristan Marie, for this question. This question actually excites me so much because the short answer is yes. Every day we encounter, not just within ourselves, but in this entire world, people that are, perhaps meant to have an experience in this lifetime together, and they just don't get there for many reasons, such as, the biggest one is, okay, so first of all, let's talk about soul connections in general. So from my understanding, there are three really big soul connections that are there to really propel us to our best self, to propel us to become the best version of ourselves and to heal all of our wounds. We have the soulmates, we have the karmic connections, and we have the twin flame connections. The twin flame connection out of the three, from my understanding, is meant to be the most challenging. So you really have to have super thick skin and really be able to want to do the work in order to be with your twin flame in this lifetime, because they will show you everything. Like there's not going to be one stone unturned within your own human self that they're not going to want to pry or pop up for you to just get it out of the way. So these types of connections are definitely not for the faintest, because they require the most work. And this is where free will comes into play, because even though, we have planned out a soul contract with someone before we embark this human suit and our journey on planet Earth, we do have free will, and there are parallel lives that are running simultaneously all at the same time. And that's what people refer to when they say jumping between timelines, because there might be a timeline of mine where I'm not a successful YouTuber, and there's a timeline of mine that I am a successful YouTuber, but how am I going to get to the timeline that I am a successful YouTuber will depend on the way that I'm thinking and feeling about myself and how much work I am putting into my own cognitive mind and my conscious beliefs, my core beliefs that I have about myself. So if I keep beating myself up and thinking that I'm not good enough and not worthy, I'll never get to that timeline. So that's one experience where I am going to miss out on that opportunity of that specific timeline. So even though the possibility of that to happen is there, I'm just not going to be able to get to it because of my own limitations that I have with my cognition, right? Like my thoughts, my cognitive beliefs about myself. And same with a soulmate. If there's a soul connection out there, because I know now what I would be attracting as my unhealed version versus my healed version. If I never did all the work to heal, and it was work, like I cried, I still cry actually, but I don't cry predominantly now. I cry and then I'm able to somehow get out of it. Like that sadness doesn't stay with me predominantly, but before I carried that sadness all the time, and I cried mostly about my unworthiness and everything else. So in that vibration that I was in, there is no way that I would have been able to meet a conscious partner, because I was completely unconscious. So I would bring in complete unconscious connection still. So I would never be able to manifest, right? Or like bring in that soul connection that was meant for my more healed self if I didn't do the work. And that goes for everyone. And that's why the limitations that we have, they all start from us. anyways, because even if we think that, so aside from the thoughts that we have that are limiting, that they could never love me, or I'm not pretty enough, or I'm not this enough, or I'm bound to be rejected, I'm bound to be alone, I'm not worthy of love, like all these unconscious programming that is running our autonomic nervous system and is the cause of our predominant thoughts, which then will have effect on our emotions, our feelings, and our actions. We also do have limitations from our environment, but they're actually not limitations, because we're supposed to feel and think that we are limitless and unlimited, but we might think of it this way. So a married person who has done the work and has healed themselves and now is in a different vibrational level, therefore so say that the person that they married was the one that propelled them to, or it doesn't have to be marriage, it has, like any sort of connection that you're in, if that person was mistreating you, but in reality what they were doing is showing you where you're mistreating yourself, and then you go into it and you start to do the work and you become a healed version of yourself. Now this person is not a match for your vibration anymore. So if they're not willing to do the work themselves as well to rise and meet you, then you're gonna naturally fall apart, right? Because you're rising your vibration, you're doing your gratitude, your affirmations, you're increasing your self-worth, all this. And if this person is still here, which served you when you were here, but now you're here, they're gonna also have to wanna do the work. And this is what Brian Weiss talks about, the experience of the more awakened soul to have this connection now be feeling a little bit tragic, because they're gonna lose this person and it's gonna feel like a loss. So you're gonna go through the stages of grief, but this person actually does have a chance to rise up and meet you if they choose to do their work. But again, that depends on their free will. Do they want to do their work? Do they have the capacity for it? That's the whole thing about free will. And it kind of is a game changer, because we can't control somebody else's free will. So even though we have contracts that we, potentially like plan out, then free will comes into play. And when we're actually incarnated in this lifetime, free will comes into play, and it can definitely change those timelines or affect like the outcome of any connection. But then you're going to find yourself in another one. So never ever worry, like Brian Weiss says in his book, like never ever worry about ever finding a soulmate or a karmic connection or your twin flame. You're bound to run into them. And then it depends on the both of you, on the work that you want to do. And if one of you chooses to do the work, but then if you choose to do your work anyways, and the other person just is not ready to do it, like they're exercising their free will and they're like, you know what, I'm happy to still be here, still be projecting or pointing my finger, not wanting to do the work because it's a lot easier, it's a lot more comfortable, because doing the work is uncomfortable and it feels what's the word, exhausting. Right? It's exhausting to do the work to become a different version of yourself, because it does take effort. But I would rather put in the effort to do my gratitude, to do my affirmations, to change my mindset, than put the effort into trying to understand, like, why is this happening to me? Or like, I feel unworthy, or I feel this, or I feel that, or why are they treating me this way? What's wrong with them? Like, either way, it's going to require effort. So I'd rather just put the effort in this than to stay here. But I also know what it was like to be here. I really had to be pushed and propelled to come here. So then when I'm here, I wouldn't even want to be with this person anymore, because this person thinks and feels so much different than me now, right? Someone who's unawakened might tend to see the glass half empty, but I'm now seeing it half full. So now hit their limitations, right? Like the human constructed limitations that the glass is half empty now is keeping them away from me, because why would I want to be with someone who's viewing the world completely different than me and doesn't want to do the work to rise to meet me so we can have a conscious, more positive connection. So this is kind of how it works with souls that come together. in this particular lifetime. So the twin flame is the hardest. The soul connections are not actually always of a romantic nature. They can be friends or family members. All of these people that go through life with us are actually part of our soul tree. And then the karmic connections are the ones that are considered to be like toxic. So I would imagine that those types of connections would be the ones that you would not necessarily want to be in for a lengthy amount of time. So say if I was in a karmic connection with someone who was abusing me, I would look to see, how am I calling this experience in? Why did I make this contract with this person? Where am I abusing myself? And then once I know that this person is just meant to come in to show, just to mirror, because all relationships essentially are a mirror of our inner world. So if this person is just here to show me that, I don't know if I would want to choose to stay with that person, unless of course, again, they also want to choose to change. And that can happen. I follow this person on Instagram. I'm going to put his information in that description box. He was a complete narcissist, and he's completely changed man now, who is helping heal the rest of the world and really gives us in-depth sight in what is going on in a man's mind. Because like a narcissist, because I know we did a lot of schooling on narcissistic behavior, and it is quite detrimental to a connection. So that would be another limitation of preventing two people to come together. If, you know, the one that is, and I hate to label things, but if someone resonates with that, then yeah, that would keep you apart again. And there's so many other things that we think and feel about ourselves. Like Brian White says, like, I'm not old enough, or I don't have enough money, or just many, like, those so-called excuses of not wanting to partake in something, right? But again, you're exercising your free will, so we don't really have a choice in that. We only just have a choice in how we present ourselves in the world. And just remember that if one soul connection doesn't work out because of the exercise of free will, another one will. And if you guys want to read a book about soul connections, this book by Dr. Brian Weiss's daughter, actually, Amy Weiss, it's called Crescendo. It is a really beautiful interpretation of all the different timelines that one person can experience in this lifetime, purely by exercising our free will. So don't ever worry. You can never get it wrong. That's what we can never get it wrong. And even though we might lose, which we never really lose anyone, we just sort of separate temporarily in what seems to be a lifetime. And then there's going to be another person that's supposed to come in and meet you. But we make it a little bit more challenging on ourselves when we fixate on an outcome of just only one life experience. We don't allow naturally what is meant for us to come in. If something doesn't work out, if we really, really immerse in the knowing and the trust that something different is meant to come in for us that will be more serving, then that can come and find us and give us an opportunity to experience life in a joyful way. But we just have to make room for that and let go of expectations of one connection because someone else is exercising their free will to like not be able to make it work with you, or maybe even if someone does choose to heal and they decide to embark the life path with somebody else, we're supposed to be accepting of it all, and we're supposed to be in the knowing that something else is going to come for us that is matching that and more. And the only thing that we can take from like a failed soul connection, not failed, one that didn't have a chance to flourish, is the experience of what that loss is having you think and feel about yourself. And then you can take the opportunity to heal that, so then you can change your vibration. So then when you continue on your life path with the knowing that more experiences are going to come and meet you, the higher your vibration, the higher that experience is going to come in and find you. So I hope this video made sense. I really love this journey of soul connections because it's just been astonishing, the amount of experiences that I've been able to have in this lifetime so far. I feel like I've experienced all three, like soulmates and twin flames. And actually, it is said that we only have one twin flame, and I feel like, yeah, so I shouldn't say twin flames, but I've run into, like I had an opportunity to experience what a twin flame connection is like, a soulmate connection and a karmic connection. And I'm so grateful that I've had an opportunity to experience them all. And even though I've suffered great heartbreak through them, I couldn't be more grateful, because they are the only reason why I am where I am today, is because of all the guilt and shame and unworthiness, all the things that they brought out in me that really pushed me to become a different version of myself and stop calling the stuff in from myself. And again, as always, thank you so much for trusting me with what is deep in your heart and your curiosities about life and connections and love, and with my love and gratitude. Please give it a thumbs up if you liked anything about this video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, or hit that notification button if you don't want to miss another video. And as always, I welcome your questions, comments, concerns, and I will see you next time.